Hello everyone, right now you're watching a gameplay on the map Diner. The mode is going to be dodgeball, and I do go off in this match, so hopefully it's entertaining while you listen to this commentary, which is going to be my May update, thoughts and opinions, and just kind of where I see the state of Gears for being right now. So if you follow Chaps or the Razored Edge, you'll probably know that I did a stream with them, a community stream that lasted almost 2 hours, where we just talked about just about everything that I can think of off the top of my head when it comes to the state of Gears. So that's partially why I wanted to post this video, was just to have so I could have a forum of discussion on my channel, which I find that normally we have really good constructive conversations in here, and I'm always really impressed with the types of responses I get in the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and link the community stream in the description, and I'm also going to link the channels of Razored Edge and Chaps so you can check those out. Definitely recommend watching the stream if you haven't already. Just put it on when you're about to fall asleep or just when you're laying down. It is long, but a lot of great content in there, and obviously it's going to be a lot more in depth than I'm going to be able to go into here. But nonetheless, I wanted to talk about a few things. If you don't want to watch that whole video, just what I mentioned, what I kind of what resonated with me. As you know, I am a competitive player. I care almost exclusively about the player versus player aspect of the game, the online multiplayer part. So that's mainly what I'm going to be talking about today. So I'll be ignoring kind of Horde or any campaign or stuff like that, or even microtransactions and stuff like that. That stuff is less concerning for me just because I don't identify or gravitate towards that part of the game. But those are all great parts of the game too. It's just kind of, you know, you pick and choose what you like, because I think there's a lot of content in a game like Gears, and 9 minutes and 7 seconds is not enough to cover all that content. So now that I've said all that, let's get right into it. So the May update dropped. We have 2 new maps. I won't go into depth too much what I think about the maps. I like security, and I think Dawn is an excellent map, and I can't wait to see how that plays on other modes. And I think that's evidence, along with Diner, that the Coalition is very capable of making really good new maps. So hopefully that kind of quiets people who were skeptics and saying they should just return old maps. But with me mentioning old map, security is obviously an old map, so I'll quickly say that I would prefer a new map. You guys probably could have guessed that I was going to say that, but whatever. We got what we got. I know people like Gears 2 maps, and security is a good map, so I'm just going to drop it and leave it at that. The update obviously came out with a lot of new stuff. We have tons of new skins and contents that's dropped. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is because, like I said, that's not really a part of the game that I gravitate towards too much with. But I think it's a testament of how good the Coalition is doing of getting out content there. You know, I think that at times it's very easy to be hypercritical of the Coalition, but one of the things that I think keeps a lot of players hooked is the grind for content. Now, we could have a whole separate discussion on whether or not the RNG that you have to go through to get that content is acceptable, or what that does to the players. But just for the sake of the point I'm trying to make, is that this idea that there is new content being introduced into the game, and to me that's really good. And I believe we had, what was it, a zombie pack of the Carmine brothers, which in my opinion is pretty clever, seeing as how all of the Carmine brothers, with the exception of Clayton, I believe, were killed in the game. So a zombie skin for them is fitting, in my opinion. So that's all stuff that players can work towards, and that's all great news too. And I'm sure there's tons of other skins that I'm unfamiliar with. Another thing we got is the introduction of the season. So instead of Season 0, you probably noticed that there's Season 1, and supposedly there's going to be a Season 2, Season 3, etc., etc. So this is obviously something that should have happened a long time ago and started with the game, but no sense in griping over the past. It's nice that they're finally there. We've had a rank reset, and if you're like me, you're probably grinding on the playlist trying to get your diamond status back, which is actually a lot of fun, and that's the reason you're watching Dodgeball. If you've noticed, a lot of the time I've been playing Execution because I like the competitive weapon tunings, but started playing the other game modes because I want to get my diamond ranking back, along with some of the weapon skins that are being awarded in the playlist for achieving a rank of diamond. I think that's also a really excellent thing that I'm happy with about with the update. I love the idea of incentives. I think incentives are a great way to keep your community hooked and trying out new things and whatnot. So incentivizing these playlists by putting, a weapon skin in there for players who achieve diamond status in them is an excellent way to bring players in and have them play all the different modes, and it sure as heck is working for me, with the exception of Arms Race, which maybe drives me so crazy that actually might smash my television if I have to suffer through that. I was playing the other day, just as a side tangent, literally a 3-on-5. I was on the team of 3. We had hammer bursts and we were up against M bars. So you tell me, you tell me, Coalition, what am I supposed to do in a situation like that? So I'll save that rant for another video of maybe what I think about the game types, but Arms Race is definitely on the lower end in that respect. So it still stands, though, that the incentives that have been created are excellent. I think the matchmaking's been improved, but to be honest, it's hard to tell. I feel like there's still a lack of transparency when it comes to how the matchmaking actually works. The Coalition recently released a statement saying how it matches up players, but to be honest, in my experience, which is nothing but anecdotal, I find that my ranking is pretty irrelevant to the types of matches I find myself in. I'm a diamond in most of the playlists that I play in, and half the time I go up against silvers and bronzes instead of diamonds and whatnot. So I am not convinced that the matchmaking system is doing as good of a job as I want it to when it comes to matching players of similar skill level. Now, I know there's a bunch of contingencies on that, like, you know, how many players are searching the playlist. Maybe there's not other diamond players, but like I said, those are all things that I'm just not really aware of, and I'm sure a lot of players are also curious of, just because we don't have enough information to be determining what the matchmaking is really like in Gears. But it does feel a tad better than before. Can't confirm if that's because of the update or just because of the random experiences I've had, but it is what it is at this point. Now, I really like how they introduced on their website the stat tracking, so you can kind of see how close you are to ranking up, or, you know, what your stats are like. I think that is really cool. I just wish that it was in-game, because a lot of players are probably just dilly-dallying while they're waiting for their next game to queue up, or at least that's me. That's what I do. So it'd be really cool if you could just check the stats page in game and kind of see where you're at. And that's another thing that I think incentivizes players to kind of play this game, is to improve your stats and continue to rank up and whatnot. So those are all really great changes. Now, I think there's a bit of an overarching theme that I want to talk about with all the stuff that I've just mentioned, and that's that we're into May now, and we have been getting new content every month, and I think it is objectively true that somebody who buys the game today is getting a better value game than somebody who would have bought the game when it first launched. It's just objectively true that there's more content than before. I don't know if that's a point I've mentioned before, but I think that's a really important point to mention, because it shows that the Coalition is committed to this game, and they want to see it grow and do well. And as a player who invests a lot of time in a game, it's very important to me to know that the developer is also invested in it, and they're not just going to kind of run away with whatever they had just left you with from launch. So I think if you end up watching the stream, or just you know, if I were to talk about some of the other stuff that I won't have time to in this video, it's very easy to be hypercritical of the Coalition, and indeed it's not a bad thing to be critical as long as it's constructive. And the point of the stream that I did with B-Chaps and the Razored Edge was just to kind of put it all out there and say, like, you know, this is what we like, this is what we think has been done well, and here are where we would like to see the game continue to improve. You know, I think it's equally bad to just praise something as it is to just tear it apart. You know, it's always about finding that middle ground and acknowledging the good, recognizing the bad, and figuring out how you can close the gap between the bad and what you would like to see. So overall, I think I was pretty positive in this commentary, rightfully so. We've seen some good changes. Of course, I want to see some improvements when it comes to matchmaking or microtransactions, but I think the state of Gears is pretty good, and I'm happy with where we're at right now. So feel free to share with me your thoughts and opinions, and as always, I look forward to reading them, and thank you for watching.